Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Welcome back.
Thank you. We're learning Mishna Sotah, Parak Beis, Chapter 2, Mishnah Dal, Mishnah 4. Now, just to a quick review, because we had a pretty long break. The Mishnah is talking about a Sotah. A Sotah is a woman that her husband had warned her not to go into seclusion with another man, and she did so anyway. And when she does so, she becomes forbidden to him, and he now has the power to bring her to the Beis Hamikdash and to make her drink the mehamorim, what's called the bitter waters, the waters that are going to basically inspect her to see if she committed adultery or not. Now, the process of how she is inspected is that the Torah says is that you write the portion of the Torah that talks about this whole discussion about a sotah, which is that she drinks the water. If she committed adultery, she dies from it. If she didn't commit adultery, she doesn't die from it. And what has to happen is that this portion of the Torah is written, and it is then erased or scraped off what it's written into the water, and she drinks the water, and that's going to inspect her. So the previous Mishnah was discussing the differences of opinion about exactly which portions of the Torah that talk about this whole subject are written and erased into the water. Mishnah Daled, we're about to start today, Mishnah 4, is discussing on what does the Kohen, who takes care of all this, on what does he write this down on? When we talk about he writes the parsha of Sotah, which even has the names of Hashem in it, even the names of Hashem are erased into the water. What does he write it down on, and from what is he going to scrape it off? So Mishnah Dal reads, Eina kaisev loy al haluach. He does not write, not on a luach, not on a tablet. A tablet here means on a wooden tablet, meaning on a piece of wood. V'loy al niyar, nor does he write on, now the word niyar we generally translate as paper, but actually niyar is papyrus. And papyrus means papyrus was made of shredded grass held together with the glue. And it had the texture of parchment. So they used to write on papyrus. Okay, so right now the Mishnah is saying you can't write it on a wooden tablet, you cannot write it on papyrus. V'loy ala diphthera. Now diphthera is parchment. Now parchment, comes from an animal skin, but diphthera is what they translate as unfinished parchment. Unfinished parchment. Now, I'll read to you here from the process of parchment that was done in the times of the Mishnah. The hides of animals go through 3 stages to be made into parchment. They are salted to remove all moisture. Then they are soaked in a mixture of flour and water to make them smooth. I guess that removes like the hairs and stuff like that. And then they are treated with the extract of gall nuts.
Gall nuts?
Gall nuts, right. You have a lot of gall, right? So the gall nuts, there's an extract from that you treat the parchment with that. The purpose of that treatment is so that ink can stick to them. Okay, that's the complete processing of parchment. Diphthera in our Mishnah is unfinished parchment, which means that the skins were soaked in the mixture of flour and water, but not treated with the gall nut extract. I'm assuming it means that, first of all, they were yet salted, they were soaked, but they were not treated yet. And therefore, now it's possible to write on it, but it's not complete. Now we'll see what difference that makes. Shenamar, so again, skip something. You cannot write not on a wooden tablet, not on papyrus, not on unfinished parchment, ella ala Megillah, but only on a scroll. Now a scroll is a word that is used to mean finished parchment. That's the wording that's used. When the Mishnah wants to talk about finished parchment, it's called a Megillah, it's called a scroll. Shenamar, how do we know that the Torah wants finished parchment? Because it says Bas Sefer. Your pasuk says the Kohen shall write these curses Bas Sefer, in a Sefer. Now we generally translate Sefer as a book, But Sefer in the Torah means a scroll. Like Sefer Torah means a Torah scroll. Whenever the Torah itself uses the word Sefer, it means a scroll. And it means parchment. And it means finished parchment. So therefore, the fact that the Torah chose to say that this is written on a Sefer is the Torah is telling us that it has to be written on finished parchment. Okay? So it's sourced in the Torah. Now, so that's what the words are written on. Now, how about the ink? Is there a difference about the ink? So the Mishnah now says, one may not write with kaimais. Now I'm going to tell you how the Art Scroll translates these different types of writing of ink, of what you can write with. So loy b'kaimais. Kaimais is gum Arabic, which is a tree sap. That's kaimais. But loy b'kankantem, not with kankantem. What's kankantem? Ferrous sulfate. Okay? Nor with anything that, now again, the word reisha means that makes a mark. But makes a mark means that it's absorbed into the parchment to the point that you can't completely erase it. There's always going to be something left of it that was written into the parchment. And so you cannot use it. So the problem with any of these inks are the fact that they are not completely erasable. Something of it is going to be absorbed into the parchment and is not erasable. So what can you use? Ela b'diyai. Diyai they translate as black ink. Exactly what it's made out of, I don't know. However, this diyai will not. I'm sorry. The way they read it here is, only with black ink that can be erased in the water. Meaning, you're going to write with it, you can scrape it off, it's going to be completely removed from the parchment and into the water. Shenamar, how do you know you need that? Shenamar, as it says, umacha, and he shall erase. That implies ksav sheyach limachik, a writing that can be erased. And erased means completely erased. And therefore, you cannot use any of these other inks, because they will, as explained here, they're absorbed into the parchment. They leave a permanent mark. They'll not be dissolved and become erased in the water, and therefore it doesn't fit what the Torah wants. So therefore, the point of the Mishnah is that it has to be written on finished parchment and with the yai with black erasable ink. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good, Rabbi.
Now, ferrous sulfate.